All right, so welcome to the live event here, streaming with Patrick Wieland, futures order flow trading here. We've had Patrick a few times already. He's 34 years old, living in Hawaii, surfing big waves and riding the waves in the stock market on YouTube. He's been day trading for 6 years, documenting his journey through the markets daily on his YouTube channel. Here's his YouTube channel, as well as some special offers on Bookmap that Patrick has. I put it into the chat already for you guys in YouTube, as well as in Discord, so you can access those without having to copy down the link. We got to go through the disclosures, and then we'll just turn it right over to Patrick. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. A risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so take it away, Patrick.
All right. There we go. Trying to see my screen. There we go. We're up there. All right. Kind of an interesting day today, as the market kind of just went straight to the moon at open and then has kind of grinded up. You can see, kind of looking back here, where all the magic's been today. A lot of action up here above this 50 level now. We've basically just been kind of ding and above this 50 level this morning, which is interesting. You can see, well, I guess that's, yeah, this morning, right? No, that was this morning. Yeah, this morning here, going above the 800s. The 800 level has been a key area. The 820, I talked about on the live stream this morning when we were trading on my channel, but that 820 area was a key level to really keep an eye on. If we got above that 820 level, if you looked at the overall kind of breakdown of where resistance was, there wasn't a lot of resistance above that 820 level until about 900. So really felt like if we could get above 820, we'd have a nice move up there, 40, 50 handles above that 820. And that's exactly what we got. You can see this morning kind of just breaking out here. If we look back kind of historically at this action, just to get an idea, like, look at how beautiful this move was out of the open. I mean, we went pretty much kind of fighting that resistance here at the 820 resistance. We had that resistance there on the Bookmap. Was clear as day to see the seller was sitting there. We knew that if we got above that 820 level, it was pretty much just an instant move to the 830s. And you can see that volume came in here there at 945, and that was right when we took a trade for the breakout. We got the breakout, the move, all that liquidity came in, and then we were off to the races. So this was a really overall just beautiful setup right out of the gates. We were waiting for that pullback. Got a small pullback here at open. You can see a little pullback right here to this, I think it was like 11, 12 area, almost like kind of that area of liquidity was sitting there on the Bookmap. And that's what I love so much about the Bookmap, is like, people always ask me, like, what is, the big advantage of having the Bookmap? And I would say right away, the one thing that I like about it is, when you're looking at the DOM, you're looking at the overall order book, you don't see, like, historically kind of where all that liquidity is. You don't see historically, were there buyers sitting there at that level? Did they pull? Like, what happened? But you can see historically, we had a lot of resistance here this morning at the 820 level. We knew that was going to be a level to fight, and we got right through there and squeezed up. So this was kind of the game plan right out of open, getting that pullback, and then you're looking for that move higher. We actually kind of pushed up. We had a little moment of hesitation. We pulled back. I was in a trade from this 14 level. I was up $1,000, and I was like, oh man, it's pulling back. And then I was like, nope, we're going to hold it. We're going to hold it. Watching the Bookmap really gives me overall confidence in these trades. And I'm using basically, the 3-minute chart, and then I'm using the Bookmap. I'm looking at Bookmap to see when we're moving. Are we moving higher with liquidity following us? Are we pushing up and then liquidity is coming in to the upside as resistance? What's happening? And I really love just kind of that overall kind of visual aspect of having that information in a different way over just having, numbers. You can see over here, like, we have the current order book and that, but like those numbers, like, just don't give me the same reference. They don't give me the same idea, like painting this picture of, hey, look, we got through there. We got that big bubble of volume. Like, look, huge spike in volume right here. We get through that 820 level. We get all the way up here to the 830s. Now we have this resistance there at the 830s. We're kind of fighting. We're fighting. And then we finally get through there. I mean, this is, pretty zoomed in. So this is 9:45 right here. And by this point, this is 9:47. So within 2 minutes, we get through this area of liquidity here at the 20s. That area turns into support. And then we go higher. We break above the 30s. And you can see, we're just riding this wave higher. And we're all the way up here to 37s by 9:48. So within 3 minutes, there, we really had that overall just perfect setup on that move. So up there to I think it went all the way, to the 40s. We pushed all the way to the 40s. So a 20 handle move above that previous area of liquidity. Again, that Bookmap really just illustrating where that liquidity was at the 20s. We squeeze. And look, I mean, this is, sometimes you get too zoomed in. It looks like this is a lot of time, but really, I mean, this is 9:45 here when we broke through, and then we got all the way up here to the 40s, 38 kind of high area within 5 minutes. So that's 5 minutes of action, and you can just see all this liquidity coming up with it. And look what happens once we get up to this 30, 40 level. Now we're getting this liquidity on the bottom down here, and that's what we want to see. We want to see that heat following the move up. So we get the move, we had the heat here at the 20s once we pushed up. The map's kind of following us, and then we got all that heat here, a lot of liquidity stacking up, trying to buy that dip. You can see we came down here, we tested that, almost like a double bottom, testing that area, and then all the way up there to the 40s, and then we just kept going. I think almost to 46, 50 level there. So pretty beautiful move this morning, and I really thought that the Bookmap was a big, big tool to seeing all that action. And again, I mean, this is 10 minutes of action from 9:45 to 55, from the 20s up here to pretty much the 46, 50 level within about 10 minutes. So lots of action in a short amount of time. Let's look and see what's going on right now. I think, let's get an idea of what's going on here as we go into the end of the day. Looking at the chart right now, I think we got room to go. I don't think we're done yet. We're at a pivot on the SPY right now. 384.30 is the pivot on the SPY. I talk about on my channel all the time how important these pivots are. So if you look right now at the SPY pivots, we've touched this 348 area, 348.30 area twice. This will be the third test of that area. And this is kind of like right where we're at. And as we pushed up here earlier, right there, kind of in this area, we've been here for a little bit of time. This is about 11 o'clock earlier. And for a few hours, kind of just fighting in this area. But still, I think there's room to run. And if we can watch this move now, let's see if we get some action trying to push through this 60 level a little bit higher up. Right now, sitting in the 63s. Yeah, pretty nice. I think this is looking good for that move higher. And, we don't have a lot of volume traded up in this area here, so that's also kind of bullish. We have a lot of volume traded below us here at the 58 level. You can see that session volume profile, right? Kind of zoom out here. We can see those 57, 55 level having spikes in volume there. And that's exactly what I'm looking. Again, I talk about this all the time. Like, I really keep it simple. There's a lot of indicators. You can do a lot of cool things with Bookmap. For me personally, I just really want to keep it simple. I don't want to overcomplicate it. And that's kind of my overall trading strategy. Like, it's just very clean, very simple, right? Like, that's pretty much just my overall thesis when it comes to trading. Overcomplicating it, trying to put too many indicators, trying to figure out like all these different indicators, it just doesn't work for me. Personally, like, I need just to have it as clean as possible. I use the VWAP, I use a few EMAs, I got the pivot points on the SPY, and I'm trading the ES every single day based on these very, kind of simple ideas. And right now, the Bookmap showing us, if we kind of zoom in here a little bit more, where we're at in terms of support, that 60 level, showing us we got a big buyer down there at the 60s, 50 area, about 200 contracts sitting down there. And you can see up above us until about 68, we don't really have much going on. So the 65 area, I would think would kind of look to get that next little push up here, 65s, and then try to get a push up to 70s here, end of day. If I'm kind of looking, the only thing we got going for us against us right now is the MACD is about to cross. I think we're about to get a MACD cross here on the 3-minute chart. So If we can get a little bit more consolidation right here, we're a little overextended on the 3-minute chart, maybe get a small pullback here, but this is kind of like right where we're at right now. Right where we're at here. Maybe get a small pullback, test that 60 area here again. Yeah, you see we got some liquidity kind of coming in here at the 64s now, trying to push this down. The whole idea, I really think you got to really, I think the best premise, the best idea to think about when it comes to looking at like where that liquidity is, right? If you're a buyer, do you want to be buying high or do you want to be buying low? You know, if I think the market's going to push above 70s, do I want to be buying right here or would I rather be buying down here? I think there's I'd rather be buying on this dip, pull it back, at least kind of test that area, and then we get that pushed up here end of day. We got about another 40, what is that? A little over 48 minutes left in the market. So I think we're looking pretty good for a push. There's that push coming in, and that's exactly what we want to see right there. That volume coming up. We have liquidity coming in there at the 63s now, kind of justifying that move, confirming that move higher here. And then we push up 64s. I'm thinking we test 68 here sooner than later. If we can get above 68, 70 should be very doable. And then maybe get a SPY move up to the 386 area over that 385, and then 386 kind of be an end of day move. Somebody said there's having some options on having some issues on Discord. I'm not sure. It seems to be working on my side, but
yeah, anyone else in Discord having some issues? Like I'm rebroadcasting my screen. If you go into my live feed, there it is just a rebroadcast of Patrick's, so it should be.
It looks good on YouTube, so I think we're good there.
Yeah, so it looks good on YouTube, so mine must be okay. Anyway, try going over to Patrick and clicking on that. Else, go to YouTube.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to let me add let me do something here. See if I can add the absorption indicator here. See if we see some stuff going on with that. But right now we're pushing up 65s here, getting that move up here. The MACD just crossed, so that's confirming that we're getting this move up here. And you can see 68, 69 being that next area. If I was in a trade right now, if I was long on this trade, my target would be kind of trying to get up there to that 65, 68 area. There we go. Now we're getting some absorption indicators coming in there, showing us kind of where those buyers are coming in, absorbing the action. The sellers are absorbing here. And as you can see, we kind of pushed through this little area of liquidity. That liquidity is kind of coming back in there. 65 is a battle. 64, more liquidity sitting at 64 than 65, but let's see how she pushes. What's going on? Got some action on the YouTubes. If you guys are just now tuning in, don't be afraid to hit that like button. Help us out here. A little guest streaming on the Bookmap YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button as well and learn more about Bookmap. Bruce is always posting up new videos talking about what's going on with the new indicators and new stuff with Bookmap. The resident expert on the Bookmap here. Right now, kind of watching the 65 level, you can see that liquidity just came in there pretty heavy. So it's a bit of a battle. I always love these end of day action because sometimes you just get these massive moves end of day where you get shorts getting squeezed. I mean, there's plenty of room here on the ES to go even higher. I mean, if you look, I'm trying to see exactly kind of where that next resistance is on the chart. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty good until about 900. So there is room to run. The shorts could get a nice little squeeze here. But yeah, I would definitely not want to be shorting right now. End of day. The only thing that has me a little worried is that the 15-minute chart's a little overextended here. But like I said, we're testing that kind of double top here at that 66, 65 level. And you can see that liquidity sitting up there, 68, 69s. And sellers are sitting there at 65s right now. We did get that move up here already from that 56 bounce up there to 65. So maybe a small pullback. Test that 60 level here again. 60 wouldn't be a bad area for a little pullback. Pull back that 15 EMA. We're pretty far off the VWAP as well. That's one thing I hate as well. So many as wells, but that VWAP being down there at the 838 level, pretty deep there. Got some big earnings report this week. Earnings this week as well. I think we got Microsoft today. We got Apple. We got Google. Some other big names coming out, tech stocks this week. Yeah, a lot of heat up here in this level. Kind of that 65 level, a lot of heat. We were there earlier. We pulled back. And you can see it's interesting, almost like a W. Look at that. It's like a perfect W on that move right there. Like perfect little double bottom on that 40 level. That 40 level was support earlier in the day as well. That 40 area acting as support here. You can see that liquidity sitting there at the 40. So the buyers were sitting there wanting that 40 level. See if we can just kind of get rid of most of this noise and just focus on really the big chunks of liquidity here. Well, I'm always kind of like messing with these bubbles size wise. What's interesting is we just had that big red bubble there, and look, we're still kind of moving up, pushing again to that 65 level here. That high there at the 65, 66 level. The shorts, they know that if we get above 65, 66, they're going higher. So they're trying to keep this thing below 65, 66 level. Try to get that triple top here. The shorts don't want it to go. Ryan Black, you were short at the 40s? Oh, come on. I hope you're still not short. Come on now. That's not fair. That's not a good idea. All right, so we're sitting back here. We're just watching kind of if this thing's going to hold 60s. We hold 60s, we go up to the 70s level. I think, you know, we get above this 66. I don't see how this thing doesn't go higher. The NASDAQ and the ES both kind of double topping there at that 700 level. The NASDAQ kind of double top at the 700s, and the ES both just sitting there ready to explode. Market's up 1.4% on the day right now. Overall, kind of an interesting week so far. Yesterday and today, just kind of squeezing higher. Just squeezing. We're right there at that pivot right now on the SPY. The SPY trying to get above that pivot, 384.30 level. Get above that pivot and push up there to the 386s here end of day. That fine line in the sand. We can hold 60s. We go up there, I think 80s end of day minimum. Obviously, not financial advice, but let's see here end of day. Get that end of day algorithm run. 65 sitting there. Liquidity, you got 221 sitting at the 65s. That's that double top area. So can we squeeze it higher? Try to add back some heat here. Adding back that heat here. I don't know. What do you guys you got a lot of heat on your map when you're using it, or do you keep it pretty slim on the heat? What do you got in the chat? Not a trade recommendation. Amen. So you can see that liquidity sitting there. Basically, we got liquidity at the 61s, 60 area. I don't see how. I'm pretty bullish right now, thinking this is going to push. And then no dots. Oh, it's too much. Oh, I don't know about that one. I kind of like the dots. You guys don't like the dots? Big dots, little dots. Nothing I love to see more than when I'm long on a trade and all of a sudden you see a big old green bubble. Woo! I don't know what gets me more excited. Making money or being, I guess, making money either way, but being in a trade and being long and seeing that big old green bubble coming in there, you're like, oh baby, let's go. That's that visual, right? The visual of the heat map. Gotta love it. So looking for this move up to 70s or higher here, end of day. Right now, testing that 65s again. We got that liquidity 65 and kind of 66 level. We get through that. I just don't see how we don't move above 70 here. I do not have any stops or the icebergs on there right now. Like I said, I keep it pretty simple. That's pretty much like all of my overall strategies and indicators. I keep everything pretty simple, to be honest. Try not to overcomplicate things.
So Patrick, have you been in this all day long?
I have not. I traded this morning and then just basically ended up, what did I kind of getting out once we were kind of just grinding higher. Nothing I hate more than when the market's just grinding higher. But it was interesting because it just, that 50 level from earlier, I saw people, we were at 40 to 50 level and people were like, oh, I'm going to get short here. And I was like, I don't know. I think that, like I talked about on the live stream earlier, is, the market's like a river, and trying to swim against the current is, you can do it, but it gets tiring. It gets tiresome trying to always be fighting the current. So I think, when the market's grinding higher, when the market's showing strength, there's no reason to be shorting. Even if you get a little move down, it's just, there's no reason to short. It's just kind of wait for that next opportunity to get long. And today we just had that beautiful move out of open and then just kind of grinded this 40 to 60 level. Right now, 66 is pushing. We're going 70s. I'm putting it on. I'm thinking we're going 70s. I'm saying we're going 70s here. Let's see. 67, 68's coming up. Come on, look at that move. We're getting some action here, people. It's end of day. Live on the Bookmap. If you haven't already hit that like button, you know what to do. Come on, people. Let's show them how we do it over here. 68's coming up. There we go. Let's go for the 70 break. So we just broke over the high of day. I don't see how this thing's going to just magically stop right here. You can see 70 a little heavy at the 70s, but the market wants it. Those shorts. Everybody was shorting that triple top up there, shorting that top of the 65s. They're now thinking they're might have to get covered. So the more that we get, the quicker we get this move higher, the more of those shorts are going to get squeezed here. I think over 70s, you get a really, should get a nice move over 70s if we can get that break here. You can see 65 now, liquidity coming in there at 65. We got the MACD cross on the 3-minute chart. We got everything lining up here for that move. But yeah, I mean, the market's just been grinding today. I try to think about like kind of the reason the market grinds, but I think sometimes you just get to a point where there's not a lot of buy. See, like today when the market's just grinding higher, you get like the buyers don't want to buy at these highs. So you have kind of less volume, you have less reason for people wanting to kind of jump in. When the market's kind of giving us better pullbacks, you get kind of better, cleaner moves, bigger moves when you get those bigger pullbacks, because you know the smart money is sitting down there waiting for those pullbacks. They're jumping in, and then people are FOMOing in, and then the shorts are getting squeezed. Where today it's just like it's just grinding higher, and the market's just kind of slowly moving up, I mean, right now, you know, we're just pushing up there to 70 now. So we haven't had like a big jump here. I mean, we literally went from 67, 69 there, just kind of slowly grinding up here. I think Santa Claus is here. I heard a package getting dropped off on the front porch. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. All right, so we pretty much touched 70s. I mean, what did we get? The high there, high was 69.50. So 69.50s, we pushed up. I wouldn't be surprised to get a little bit of a pullback here, and then we finally just keep grinding higher. End of day. We got about 30 more minutes. That last 15 minutes should be fun. Once we get that, end of day algorithm, that last 10 minutes is always fun. Right now, 68's trying to hold there. All right, someone asked, are the orange and yellow lines a add-on? No. Which one? Which orange and yellow lines?
No, I think the heat map is what he's talking about, and no, that's just Bookmap. That's
just the Bookmap, baby. Sitting here at the 68s now. Just that grinder. This is definitely not the type of action that I love to trade. I want those bigger moves. This is one of those grinders of a day. But yeah, like Roy Jenkins said in the YouTube chat right now, you got to think, you know, smart money was buying down here at the 60s. Maybe they were buying down here at the 50s. You know, they're taking some profit as we move up here. So that's going to kind of create a little bit more pressure as we push up here. You get a double bottom like that. I mean, look at that's literally a W, perfectly W. There, I think, did we break 70 there? We think we got 70.25. So, I mean, we're spot on so far. Like I said, hold that 60 level, go to the 70s. Yeah, this is smart money down here buying this double bottom. I mean, you can't get a better setup than this right here, where you're literally getting a double bottom. It's like screaming to buy at that point. If you're looking to get long and you see this setup, you're like, wow. I mean, this is a W, perfect W for the win. There we go, 71s now. We're still going, baby.
nice call, Patrick.
I'll go ahead and just retire now. I'm just gonna walk away. One call, one done. One call, one action. But yeah, I think there's still. I honestly think there's still room to go here. We got 385 coming up on the SPY, and We still got about 30 minutes here in the market, so Bookmap just kind of showing us how the market's just eating through those areas of liquidity. We really haven't had a big pullback since we got down here from the 62 area. Since we've been live, on the stream since 3 o'clock. We were down here at the 60s. We pushed up above the 60s now, and you can see volume starting to come up here, getting that volume, pushing 72s now, 73s. 75 is kind of my target over the 70s here. We can get above that. We got 80s, 90s coming pretty quickly. Not much going on. If we look, not much going on. There's the liquidity sitting at the 900s, but market's just been grinding, taking out those liquidity levels. If you guys enjoy the stream so far, don't be afraid to hit that like button. Also, we'll be live every morning on my YouTube channel at 9:15. We're always using the Bookmap, always showing the Bookmap. And like I said, pretty much every single trade that I'm in, I'm pretty much keeping my eye on that Bookmap during the trade, keeping that confidence going. Right now, the SPY at the 385. I'm always using the SPY as well with the pivot points. We pushed above that pivot point, got that kind of double top breakout. So from 385, 386, not much to go there. So I think it's very doable that we can try to get up here to the 80s now. What's the best food diet for trading? I think steak, baby, filet mignon every night. That's what I'm gonna be eating. I ate 12 eggs this morning. After this live stream, I'll be going to the gym, and then steak later on tonight. The more fat, the better. I want that brain power, baby. I want to feed my brain. With a healthy diet of fat and Bookmap, we're making it go. 74s now. Yeah, it's pretty keto. 385 now on the SPY. I also take a bunch of supplements as well, kind of supplement everything. And I'm 34, so I'm still in my prime. But I want to be the best that I can be. I wake up every morning at 3 a.m. to trade. Most people, how many people do you know would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do something every day? Not many. I do it live on YouTube as well. That's the best part. I gotta go on YouTube at 3 o'clock in the morning and put on a show. Gotta put on the show here. All right, so we pull back 70s, little pullback here. Market still got room to go, maybe a little grind here. We got about another 25 minutes here. But yeah, I think people always, if you're trading futures already, the nice thing about trading futures is most brokers, the data package is normally rhythmic data. So if you already are paying for data through your broker, you can use that same exact data from your broker to use it on Bookmap as well. So that'll save you a little bit of money. If you're already trading futures, I think most brokers are pretty much using rhythmic data. You can get that info and then get signed up. Check out the Bookmap there. I've been using Bookmap, I think about almost 3, maybe 4 months now. I used Bookmap for an entire month before I even talked about it on the live stream or even did anything with it, because I wanted to make sure that it was actually a tool that I would use personally, and it really was. I'm really, really happy that I've kind of added Bookmap to my overall arsenal. Obviously I'm using charts and everything else, but it's just nice to have it kind of visually painted out. For me personally, like, I'm a visual person. I like the idea of just kind of seeing, like, right now I know, like, okay, look, we got this little 69 area, 70 level, we get a little pullback here, 70s. We're a little overextended on the 3-minute chart right now. We're still good on the MACD. And then we got about another 25 minutes here till the end of day on this move. So the thing about Bookmap is not really like a time frame as much as like the more you zoom out, it kind of makes it a, I guess, bigger time frame. Like how do you explain that, Bruce? Like what would be the best way to explain the time frame?
Yeah, sure. So there is no time frame. You just look at the bottom, x-axis there, and right
Yeah.
now you're looking at 1 hour between each vertical dotted line. When you zoom in a little bit more, you'll see that'll change into maybe 15 minutes and then 5 minutes and etc. So that kind of divvies up the chart for you, and then you can relate that to your higher time frame candlesticks or whatever. But you're going to see so much more with precisely where the volume traded, and then also the heat map. Like you can see how Patrick's using it here, looking at like, okay, there's support here, there's a target up there at 75, there's support here at 60, 69. To understand the auction.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said before, like you can add candlesticks to these charts. Like Bruce can talk to you. There's a million videos on the Bookmap YouTube. You can check out the Discord, all the info, guys. So if you want to learn more about like what you can actually do, top to bottom with all the stuff with Bookmap, there's a lot of information, and Bruce is a encyclopedia of information when it comes to that stuff. But for me personally, like I said, I just try to keep it really simple because that's kind of, I think for me, it's just valuable to be able to see. Like earlier when we were looking at this, we were like, okay, hey, if this area here at 65, 60 area holds, our target's up here, seeing that liquidity. And, if we just zoom in, like we could see earlier, how these levels, that 70 level, we have that 69. And I'm like, okay, let's hold here. Let's push up. We take out that, and then look, out there to 75. So, I mean, we said 75 when we were at the, I think, 63 area. 75 was my target. And that was all just based off of looking at where that liquidity is sitting on the Bookmap. One thing I've noticed is that liquidity really kind of gives you a guide. It doesn't always guarantee, like we don't always guarantee the market's going to move exactly to that level, but it gives me an idea like, hey, look, like the market's moving in these waves. The market's kind of looking to see where those buyers and sellers are. Because I think that's a really good way to think about it. Like the market doesn't move based on time. The market doesn't move based on, like, hey, it's 5 o'clock, this needs to happen. Like the market's moving based on buyers and sellers. And the market moves looking to see where those buyers and sellers are. If there's not enough sellers for the market to go down, well, guess what? The market's going to move up. If there's not enough buyers for the market to move up, well, then the market's going to move down looking for where those buyers are. So you're thinking that the market's always is constantly moving in these waves. And I mean, it's pretty clear. Like you can see, like the market has just been moving in these waves, finding the buyers, finding the sellers. People are what move the market. Algorithms, buyers and sellers are what move the market. Time does not move the market. So I think it's a really interesting concept to kind of think about, the market really not as like, hey, it's a time frame or this is a time thing. It's the market moves based on where those buyers and sellers are. If there's a lot of buyers that want to get in at a lower level, well, the market's going to move up, and it's going to keep moving up as long as those buyers are willing to buy. Once those buyers no longer want to buy, well, then the sellers are going to take over and they're going to start selling. They're going to have selling pressure. So, it's all just about the market moving up and down, up and down. And yeah, I mean, I guess, the market moves to the right. It doesn't move left to right. It moves to the right based on time. But, the reason the market goes up and down is not based on what time frame candlestick. It doesn't matter what time it is for the market to move. The market's moving based on where those buyers and sellers are and creating that liquidity. And I think that's the more and more that I use Bookmap, the more I kind of really kind of start to think about it in the bigger kind of picture. And it's really helped my trading. Like my trading in the last 3 or 4 months I'm not going to say it's 100% because of Bookmap, but I think my trading in the last 4 months has almost like changed dramatically. I've been way more confident in my trades. I've been way more focused. I understand, number one, that like there's not always going to be a good trade. Like, do I want to be long up here at 75? Do I want to be buying up here at 75? No, I don't. That's just that simple. Do I want to be long when we were down here at the where's that double? Yeah, down here at the 40s. Down on this level earlier when we were double bottoming there. Like that's where I want to be. I want to be smart money. I don't want to be buying up here, knowing that we already went from ding, 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 ding up there. And you can see right now that selling pressure coming in there. Because again, are people wanting to get long at 75? Probably not. Like they're just not sitting there super excited about buying that high up there. And as I say that, we're starting to squeeze back up here. But, this is also, I think that shorts getting squeezed. The cool thing about I guess the shorts, or not the cool thing, but the thing about with shorts is if there's a little bit of buying pressure and we start to move higher and the market starts moving up, well, then those shorts might get, nervous. They might think about covering early. They might think about having to get covered. And those shorts are ending up buying. They're ending up creating more buying pressure, right? They're creating that buying pressure. And then you get FOMO. I mean, you got people, if we break over 75, well, then you're thinking we're probably going to spike 80 or higher, because at that point, shorts have to get squeezed out. The buyers, end of day are just like, okay, I'm jumping in. You got FOMO buyers. So really, the big focus here for me is just understanding that the liquidity is what's moving the market. Where is all that liquidity sitting at? And guess what? The Bookmap, for me personally, Bookmap is really, I think, a great way to illustrate exactly where that liquidity is sitting at. And I mean, it's right now pretty obvious to see, hey, look, we got a lot of liquidity there at the 75s. Does the market want to kind of test up here, kind of push up here and see if the buyers are willing to come in there again and take it higher? Let's see. We got about 18 minutes here. That last 15 minutes should be fun. Again, just grinding. It's just grinding higher. This little pullback, we got a pullback in the 70s, just like we were thinking it would do. And now it's kind of sitting here wanting to grind back up. I mean, we really haven't had a big pop or a big drop in the last hour. It's literally just been just a constant grind higher. I definitely would not want to be shorting right here. And that's the thing, is even maybe the market pulls back, maybe. But do I want to fight this? No. I want to ride that train. I want to ride that momentum higher. I don't want to have to sit there and fight the move higher.
So Patrick, that's when you're looking at your MACD and other indicators.
Exactly. So for me, I have a rule that number one, I never short. Well, I do it sometimes, but I always pay the price. My overall thesis is don't short above the VWAP, and then don't get long below the VWAP. So you have these little indicators that I use. The VWAP's on the Bookmap as well. Right now we're far above the VWAP, so you don't even see it on there. But I have these little rules for my indicators. So if I'm looking at the charts and I'm looking at my 3-minute setup and I'm like, hey, look, the MACD is bearish. The market's moving higher, but does that mean that I want to get long just because the market's moving higher? No, because guess what? The MACD is not confirming this move. The MACD is not bullish here. So there's a good chance that we get a pullback. Maybe the market still goes higher, but it's just a riskier play. When the MACD, when the VWAP, all these things are lining up, then I can be more aggressive. And then I can be like, hey, look, this is my setup. This is my trade. And then guess what? I look at the Bookmap. I can see wow, we got all this liquidity. We have this area. This is my target. A lot of times I can really, I'll set my targets based on kind of where I see those liquidity levels at. Today when we were trading and we saw that 50 area, we had a lot of liquidity sitting at the 50s earlier today, right here at the 50? Yeah, a lot of liquidity at the 50s earlier in the day. Well, guess what? If I'm long down here, where am I looking, for this to push up to? I'm looking for that to push up to the 50s. It's just that simple. And that was just by me basically, confirming on Bookmap. If I'm long from the 20s, okay, well, let's stay long. Let's keep pushing up here to the 50s. All right, end of day. We're coming up 40. We got 15 minutes left. This last 10 minutes should be fun. I think if this thing starts squeezing that 385 level on the SPY, trying to push, we're above that pivot right now. Oh, baby. You can actually add candlesticks to the charts as well. We'll see that. Yeah, you can see, we actually see the candlesticks on the chart when you zoom in here. And it'll give you, based on kind of where you zoom out or not, you can see these candlesticks on the chart here. Right now, this little candle, the more we zoom in, we can see those little candles coming in there. That that last 10-minute algorithm always does something crazy. I feel like this thing is looking squeezy here. I don't know for sure, but something's telling me this thing wants to squeeze. Let's see. We got that last 10-minute algorithm. Everybody trying to get their orders done last 10 minutes. It was actually interesting. I went to the New York Stock Exchange, and I think there's a certain time frame. Like, I think maybe the last that there's 10 minutes after the bell where like all the big market makers and brokers have like about 10 minutes to basically push their orders through and get that last movement of the day, and those orders will actually end up on. They're not traded after hours. They're like put on that last 10 minutes or so. So it's pretty interesting, the whole algorithms and floor brokers and stuff. When I was at the New York Stock Exchange, I was following a floor broker around. He was trying to buy 3 million shares, I think, of CBS that day, and the algorithm was basically buying like 10,000 shares every time the stock kind of pulled back a little bit, and it just kept buying. Pretty interesting to see. I mean, he just literally put the order in, 3 million shares. The algorithm was just sitting there buying every time the stock like pulled back close to the VWAP, and it just kept loading up. The computers, man, they're taking over.
Yeah, we in the Discord, our Bookmap Discord chat room, have some pretty interesting room in there, that's going to be well, it's kind of it'll launch here shortly, but will show a lot of the heavy algorithmic activity. So we got some really expert, professional grade levels in there. So it should stir a lot of interest, we think, here pretty soon.
Well, that'll be fun. Yeah, it's interesting because like I always tell people, people think like, oh, you can't make money in the market anymore because of these algorithms. But the thing is, like, if you understand what the algorithms are doing, then you just, again, instead of fighting the algorithm, you ride the algorithm. If you know, like, hey, look, like every time we pull back to the VWAP, like you can see that we're just keep bouncing and keep bouncing. Well, that's the algorithms buying. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to short that. I'm going to get in. I'm going to ride with those algorithms. So like once you figure out that like we're not trying to fight the algorithms, we're just trying to figure out what the algorithms are doing. Like I think last Friday, the market just went straight up, and that was purely just a short squeeze. The algorithms were like, hey, we're buying today, and everybody was like, nah, the market's going to crash. We're going to zero. Nope. Screw you guys. All right. We got 1 minute here until we get this last 10-minute candle. Oh, baby. I'm interested to see what kind of action we get here. If they're just going to squeeze this. It's looking pretty squeezy. That 70 level holding pretty strong right now. 69.70 level. If we can hold 69.70 here, this is going to get action. Woo. They're testing 68s here. There's that algorithm. It's coming in. Do we hold 69? Oh, man. The battle is real. Tapping, tapping, tapping. Again, trying to hold our 69s. Can it happen? It's pretty funny to see, like literally right there at the at 350. There's that drop, just magically, right? Just the battle, kind of just sitting here, 69s right now, still holding 69. They might want to wait till after hours to move this up after those reports come out. The great thing about the earnings reports nowadays is like as long as the company says they're not going bankrupt, well then everyone's happy. They could have the worst news ever, and everyone's like, "Well, they're not going bankrupt though," and it's like, "Well, sounds good to me. Let's buy some." Like we live in a world now where bad news is still good news, but terrible news is bad news. Oh, come on. I want to see this thing squeeze 75. It held 69s at least. We held 69. And 73's trouble. And yeah, the problem is I speak really loud and I'm yelling over here. I get excited. I get excited sometimes. I literally love this. I love this stuff. I wouldn't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to trade if I didn't love what I do.
We've got a question on what pivot levels you're using on SPY.
Yeah. So the pivot levels I'm using on the SPY are basically I just try to keep all my indicators very much stock, if that makes sense. So I'm using on TradingView. If you type in indicators, I just put in pivot points, and it'll just be the pivot points standard is the indicator. And honestly, like I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but those pivot points have been insanely spot on the SPY. And the reason I use the SPY is just because I don't know why exactly. Like I could use the pivots on the ES as well, but I've noticed that the pivots on the SPY are almost like, I mean, it's like bulletproof. It's really like you can see the pivots on the SPY. I mean, we bounced off the 381 pivot. We then moved up to the next pivot at the 384s. We pulled back to the VWAP, and then we pushed back to that 384 level. I mean, it's literally almost, I think, like cheating sometimes. I can't believe I never really used the pivots before. But those pivots really just give you confidence to hold either, for your target or just kind of get an idea for running into resistance or not.
Yeah, I think you might also find some of these algo levels that I was just mentioning pretty interesting. Then I'll fill you in more about that soon.
Yeah. No, I want to know all about the algo levels.
Yeah. It's a room called the Algo Boys.
And that'll just be in the Discord on the Bookmap Discord.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Yeah, if you guys want to check out I think how many people are in Discord on you guys there's a lot of people in the Bookmap Discord. Yeah, 15,000 people on the Bookmap Discord. So check it. If you're on Discord, check out the Bookmap Discord. I know Bruce is in there every day. Everyone's in there chatting and talking about the market. Never a bad idea to have more people looking at the market, working together. There's that pullback. We lost that 69 support, so now pulling back here. End of day, we got 5 minutes left here. You can see a little bit of support just filled there at the 65s. That liquidity just came in there. We bounced right off there. Look how that's pretty interesting. How you can see that we were dropping like a rock, and then all of a sudden, dink, went right back up after that liquidity came in there, and it's just sitting there at 65 now. And end of day here, just kind of little choppy action, up, down. Overall, market is grinding higher, but it's funny, we literally pulled back pretty much to that pivot point again on the SPY here. So I think I made a video on the channel today talking about a little recap of a trade earlier this morning, that Bookmap being crucial in the overall execution. And we're live every day on YouTube at 9:15 a.m.
Yeah, I put your link in there a couple times.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you, thank you. Do you, Bruce? Would you say the majority of people that you've talked to that use Bookmap are trading futures, or are they trading individual stocks? What would you think? What do you think
I
the
mean,
majority is?
it's a bit of everything, but the majority is definitely futures. That was our roots. We started with futures, so I think we kind of built out that community and kind of stuck with it. But we've added stocks for a number of years now, and also like I don't know 20 different or more cryptocurrency exchanges. So when we connect to basically everything.
The cool thing is, I mean, honestly, like even if you're not trading futures, I mean, you could pull up, if you're trading, if you're trading a tech stock, if you're trading Amazon, you're trading, Tesla, these tech stocks. I mean, you could basically use the Nasdaq futures and kind of get an idea of where resistance is on the Nasdaq and things like that through the Bookmap.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a good kind of proxy. But the liquidity in some of those stocks, especially those FANG stocks that you're mentioning, it gives a lot of insight. I mean, they trade very differently. Usually the larger players get in there and just park their orders, but understanding those levels of liquidity are awesome in stocks. I think it's easier.
For the Bookmap
Yeah,
on the see those levels, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, Captain Price is not only DX feed now. There's Omni feed that has ARCA, NYSE ARCA liquidity as well. So we got two different data providers in there for stocks. For futures, we connect to a bunch.
I think you guys said Rhythmic is probably the number one for
Yeah,
futures.
yeah. We think we really like the way that they handle the data. I think it's more accurate compared to some of the others. And then also they offer market by order data, which can allow you to see stops and icebergs if you have a specific add-on for that, which is amazing to see like the transactions of stop orders and iceberg orders. I think I gave it to you, Patrick, but I totally respect you're saying like I just want to keep it simple and
Honestly, I
straightforward.
mean, yeah, I might try to add. I might put the icebergs back on. I was looking the other day. Maybe you can tell me. If I look through here, if I go to my configure add-ons, I'm not. Do I have to go here to add the ice? I don't, because it used to be here. It used to be, right?
Oh, go up to the on the toolbar there, the icons, the fourth one from the left hand side. That one, two, three, four, there. Yeah, and
And
then
then,
we can't see it,
oh, okay.
but
So,
you should see it in there if you added it.
okay, yeah, I gotta install it.
Okay. Well, here's the close.
Oh, back to the 70s. Look at the little squeeze. Look at that action. Oh, volatility, baby. Gotta love it. 4 o'clock. We're closed. Nice work.
Yeah, nice job, Patrick.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. I think we had a pretty good overall read on it there. I've actually got a jet because I got another meeting here at 4, but it's been fun, guys. And if you want to learn more about the setup with Bookmap and all that fun stuff, check out their Discord website. Links that Bruce has provided. Look at that move after hours here. All over the place.
Yeah, we got our earnings now, huh? So we'll see some volatility still, I imagine.
There you go.
E-
Thanks for having me on, Bruce.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Patrick. We'll do it again. Really good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, take care.